هموطنان عزیز و بینندگان تلویزیون سیمای باختر، از شهر برلین آلمان به شما سلام تقدیم میکنم. امروز روز سه‌شنبه 28 جون ساعت 9 صبح در وزارت امور خارجه آلمان کنفرانسی هست در رابطه با جامعه مدنی افغانستان که تعدادی از اعضای جامعه مدنی هم در اینجا شرکت دارند. در نخست نماینده ویژه آلمان در امور افغانستان و پاکستان صحبت میکنند. بعد از به ترتیب وزیر امور خارجه آلمان خانم بربوک صحبت میکنند و بعدا هم 3 نفر از اعضای جامعه مدنی افغانستان هستند که در اینجا صحبت میکنند که نامه‌شان در برنامه نوشته نیست، بعدا معلوم میشه. من چون در آغاز کنفرانس نمیتونم صحبت کنم، خواستم که فعلا چند کلمه را برای هموطنان عزیز بیان بکنم که این کنفرانس به چه هدفی ایجاد شده. تا لحظات بعد کنفرانس شروع میشه و من گزارشات را لایف خدمت شما تقدیم میکنم. تشکر از توجه شما.
And in particular, during the workshop today, you will experience the spirit of this conference. It is for Afghans, by Afghans, and for the sake of the people in Afghanistan, boys and girls, men and women alike. And therefore, we are welcoming here today Afghans who had to leave Afghanistan after the Taliban seizing power in Afghanistan last August, but who have committed their lives and their professional lives to the well-being of the people in Afghanistan. And let's not forget, we're talking about 40 million people struggling for their everyday life in Afghanistan under very dire circumstances. So I welcome here human rights defenders, judges, journalists, publishers, politicians, university scholars, and humanitarian workers. Welcome to all of you. In addition, we have invited to this conference representatives of the whole Afghan diaspora, knowing the old Afghan diaspora in Germany, knowing that you are very helpful in welcoming the newly arrived Afghans here in Germany. So very warm welcome also to you, and in particular to the representatives of the Afghan Diaspora Umbrella Organization in Germany, BAFO, and I can see Mr. Spartak here and Mr. Zare. Thank you to you for joining us here today. And finally, I would like to welcome colleagues from the various ministries, the Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, the Federal Ministry of Interior, the colleagues from the Office of the Federal Commissioner on Immigration, Refugees and Integration, and of course our colleagues from the Foreign Office. But also representatives of various organizations, the Danish Refugee Council, GIZ, Berghoff Foundation, and many others. They are all here, we are all here to make this Afghanistan Day here in the Foreign Office a success. So thank you once again to all of you for joining us here today. And with this, I have the honor to welcome on stage the Federal Foreign Minister, Annalena Baerbock. Dear Minister, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, difficult stairs to watch out. Good morning, Secretary of State, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, but above all, friends and partners from Afghanistan. Afghanistan. How much more can a nation tolerate? That's what Aisha Shuram, who is among us today and who will speak in a moment, wrote on Twitter in April. She was reacting to the deadly bombing of the school in Kabul and the banning of Afghan girls from classrooms across the country. How much more can Afghans tolerate? That's also what I thought last week when I learned of the fatal earthquake in your country. The quake killed over 1,000 people, many more went injured and have lost their home. Germany is sending medical aid to the disaster zone, and with our humanitarian partners, we are looking for ways to do more. In such a terrible moment, the victims deserve our full support. The quake was just the most recent devastation Afghans had to suffer. Since last summer, your country has been experiencing a storm of humanitarian and political crises. Millions of children, women and men don't have enough food to eat. Hundreds of thousands of refugees who have been forced from their homes are seeking shelter elsewhere in their country. And the Taliban have been robbing Afghans of their rights and freedom, particularly women and girls. Many of you here in this room have experienced this yourself, and you know it way better than I do. A year ago, most of you were still in Afghanistan. Your lives were difficult, often in danger. And still, you worked as journalists, activists, or judges. You had your families and loved ones around you, and you contributed to a better future for the Afghan people. The Taliban took all of this away from you. You had to leave behind your country, your careers, your families, and many of you, your dreams. Today you are in Germany, you are no longer in fear for your lives, but I know that does not mean things are easy. You have to start a new life in a country whose language many of you don't speak, whose employers do not always recognize your degrees and your work experience, and whose bureaucracy is sometimes exhausting, also for many Germans actually, with complex rules and requirements. Still, all of you are showing remarkable power and resolve. You are enrolling in German universities or taking up new jobs. And all of you are looking for ways to continue supporting Afghanistan and its people from here. That is why we have invited you to today's conference, because we are united by a common goal, not to give up the idea of a better and more prosperous Afghanistan, one that offers a free and open home to all Afghans, no matter their gender, their beliefs, their ethnic background. Let me be clear, the German government stands by Afghanistan and its people. We recognize our special responsibility toward the Afghans, and particularly to those whom we promised to welcome in Germany. With Russia's war raging in Ukraine, Afghanistan has almost disappeared from European television programs and newspapers' headlines. But that does not mean we have forgotten you. Last week, we took stock of our action plan for Afghanistan, which I launched half a year ago when coming into office. Since then, Germany has stepped up its efforts as the biggest humanitarian donor to Afghanistan. And 2/3 of the Afghans we promised to take in are now in Germany. But at the same time, too many Afghans who are holding on acceptance status or are seeking to be united with their families are still waiting to get out. And we know about it. We know about the single cases. I just got a letter again of Afghanistan women just arrived in Pakistan who were demonstrating in last summer, and we know that every single one counts. So we do care for every single one of them, but I would also like to underline, even though when we are trying to do our best together with your help, together with the help of many NGOs here in Germany, it's at the end always the Taliban standing in our way. However, we are keeping up our efforts because too many Afghans are still not only in the country but are getting hungry more. It's important that we continue with our humanitarian support. And I explicitly say that this does not come with the legitimization of the Taliban regime. Our support goes to the Afghan people. We will also work toward ensuring that all Afghan citizens with an acceptance status can in fact come to Germany, as difficult as that may be. When I visited Pakistan this month, the Pakistani government committed to supporting our program of assisted travel to Germany via Islamabad, and I'm very thankful for that. We are also adapting our administrative procedures, including the visa process, to facilitate a speedy transit. And we are working with other countries in the region. Finally, stepping up our support to Afghanistan means that we are supporting civil society, and this means working with all of you. Despite the Taliban takeover, we are still funding civil society projects in Afghanistan, especially for basic health services and victims of sexual violence, but also many education projects. But because civic space in Afghanistan is shrinking, we are also focusing on Afghan civil society actors who are working from Germany or third countries. And because this is very important for me and for my house here together with the other ministries, we have expanded programs and scholarships so that Afghan human rights defenders, artists and journalists can work from here, so that students and scientists can continue with their research from Germany or somewhere else. Some beneficiaries of these programs are here with us today, and I welcome you very warmly. We want to build on this, but to do so, we truly need you. We need your insights. You're the experts in these kind of topics. You're the experts in the support of the civil society in Afghanistan. Today's conference is therefore about listening and making your voices heard. We have set it up with 3 goals in mind. First, we want to hear how you think we can preserve space for civil society in Afghanistan. What is the situation on the ground and what can be done precisely in practice? Because I'm not a fan of nice headline and then at the end it doesn't work out because it's totally different in villages where support is really needed. So we need you as the experts from the ground to finally turn it into successful projects. Second, we want to learn how we as the German government, some of you have been running projects in Afghanistan from Germany since the 1990s. We want to encourage you to share your experience with those who came in the last months and years. We will be discussing all this in different workshops today, and we are eager to hear your observations, assessments, and recommendations. I don't expect us to find perfect answers to all the current challenges. This is just the start of the dialogue. But if we are not starting the dialogue, we will never find answers. And we have to be realistic about the situation in Afghanistan. How much more can Afghans tolerate? That was the question you have raised. And, frankly speaking, we don't know the answer. But what we know is that we can and that we have to do everything that people in Afghanistan can stand the current situation. This is our firm commitment to do all what we can to help to improve the life of Afghanistan's men, women, children, and especially girls. And this is why we are here today. I'm really thankful that you are here with us. Thanks for joining us.